Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the US dollar index is retesting this significant level of resistance, which is important for Bitcoin and crypto. And on top of that, Ethereum is forming a new pattern that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that later in the video. Make sure to watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the US dollar index chart here on the daily time frame, and just recently the US dollar index has retested this previous important level of resistance. And in case you're new to all of this, the reason why the US dollar index is important for Bitcoin and crypto is usually when we see the US dollar index trend to the upside, that is usually bearish for Bitcoin and crypto. But on the flip side, when the US dollar index is bearish, that is usually bullish for Bitcoin and crypto, because this chart right here shows the Bitcoin price in the candlesticks and the US dollar index in this red line right here on the daily time frame. And so for the Bitcoin and crypto bulls out there, what we need to see is a break to the downside in the US dollar index below this line right here, which once again was previous resistance. And this line on the chart is sitting at around 105.6 to 105.7 in the US dollar index. And basically, if we end up seeing a confirmed break below that line, then obviously that would be a bearish signal on the chart, potentially pointing towards a possible top, at least a local top in the US dollar index. And once again, in that scenario, that would be bullish. If we start to see the US dollar index trend back to the downside, that would be bullish for Bitcoin and crypto. So while the US dollar index is testing this previous line of resistance, which is currently acting as new support, once again, this is simply an important test to pay attention to. And perhaps over the next few days, we'll get to see more information whether we actually break below this support or see a further bounce back to the upside. Obviously, if we do end up seeing a further bounce back to the upside in the US dollar index, then that would actually increase the chances of this bearish trend on the daily time frame continuing here in the price of Bitcoin. But as always, I'll make sure to keep you up to date on all of this in these videos every day. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on if you enjoy this content. But anyway, taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, and over the last one day, not a lot has changed on this daily Bitcoin chart. So once again, as I said yesterday, the daily Bitcoin RSI is still currently looking more bullish than bearish, breaking out to the upside. And the same can be said for the daily Bitcoin MACD, which is still showing relatively low momentum, but is still looking more bullish than bearish. And as for significant support on the daily time frame, obviously we still have this area of support sitting in between around 24.3k to 25.3k. And also on the daily Bitcoin chart, we still have an active bullish divergence, which is still playing out as of recording this video. And so once again, as always, a bullish divergence most commonly plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a bullish relief, which is still playing out as expected. And in case you're wondering, the point of invalidation for this bullish divergence would simply be a breakdown in the RSI below this ascending line of support or into new lower lows, because basically if that happens, obviously that would be a sign of weakness in the RSI, which would mean a sign of weakness for the price, basically invalidating the bullish divergence. But once again, at least for now, that has not yet happened. We're still seeing the RSI trend to the upside, holding above this ascending line of support, which is good news for the price of Bitcoin. And as for short-term support and resistance, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, as of recording this video, we are still holding above this golden pocket sitting in between around 26.8k to 26.9k, which is currently acting as support. But if we actually end up seeing a confirmed break back below around 26.8k, then in that case, the next levels of support to pay attention to are, first of all, around 26.5k, and below that level, we should also find some support at around 26.1k. And as for resistance, right now, as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is getting very close to a possible breakout above this descending line of resistance, sitting at around 27.2k approximately. And if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above 27.2k, then in that case, the next resistance is at around 27.4k. And if we end up seeing a breakout above 27.4k, then obviously that would be a very bullish signal in the shorter term, breaking into new higher highs. And in that case, we'll likely head up towards around 28,000, which is this previous high that we saw at the end of August. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And right now, as of recording this video, we have now seen seen 2 daily candle closes above this important area of resistance, which was previous support and should now again be acting as new support. And this price range is sitting in between around 1620 to 1660. And so once again, as I explained in more detail in my last video on the channel, this is obviously a bullish signal. Anytime where we break above major resistance, that is clearly bullish. And of course, the RSI has been a leading indicator over the last few weeks for this bullish price action, which is now playing out. Because if you're looking at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, first of all, the MACD is still looking more bullish than bearish. It is showing some bullish momentum. And as for the daily Ethereum RSI, once again, this is clearly trending to the upside, forming higher lows and higher highs, which is a sign of strength and often a leading indicator for more bullish price action in the price of ETH. And now, obviously, as I record in this video, there is a potential hidden bearish divergence forming right now, but it is important to understand that that potential hidden bearish divergence is not yet confirmed. And if you want to know more about that potential hidden bearish divergence and what it will take to confirm that pattern, check out my last video on the channel to find out more. But as of right now, staying on the daily time frame, obviously we still have an active bullish divergence still playing out right now. And so once again, as I've been saying over the last few weeks, since below 1.6k, this technically means we're due to see either some choppy sideways price action, if not a bullish relief. And obviously this is still playing out as expected because the RSI is still trending to the upside, forming higher lows and holding above this ascending line of support. And as for short-term support and resistance, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool on the 4-hour time frame, still, as I'm recording this video, the price of ETH is holding above the golden pocket, sitting in between around 1660 to 1670, which is currently acting as support. But if we end up seeing a confirmed break back below 1660, then obviously that would be a short-term bearish signal. And in that scenario, we would likely see a drop at least down towards around 1635. But if that level does not hold up as support, then in that case, the next levels of support are at around 1610 and around 1580. And as for short-term resistance, if this bullish trend in the shorter term continues, then in that case, we do have this level of resistance at very close to 1.7k, more specifically around 1695. But if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above 1.7k, then we would likely next head up towards around 1740 to 1750 approximately, which is basically this previous high back here. And now, if you're taking a look at the ETH to Bitcoin chart, so this is basically Ethereum valued against Bitcoin here on the 3-day time frame. So basically, this is looking at over 1 year worth of price action. And what we can see is a giant falling wedge pattern forming here on the ETH Bitcoin chart on the 3-day time frame. And as always, a falling wedge pattern is known as a bullish pattern because roughly around 2/3 of the time, a falling wedge statistically breaks out to the upside, and roughly around 1/3 of the time, a falling wedge breaks to the downside. And so obviously, it is not impossible for a falling wedge to actually break to the downside, but that is simply the less likely scenario. It is statistically more likely to break out to the upside. But as always, we need to wait for confirmation of an actual breakout above resistance in order to activate the technical price target to the upside. And for that, we need to see a breakout above this descending line of resistance, which is currently sitting at around 0.064 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And so once again, we need to see a breakout above that level and also confirmation, like for example, candle closes above that resistance. And if that happens, if we do end up seeing a confirmed breakout, then in that case, the technical price target would be towards the top of the wedge, which is sitting at around 0.083 Bitcoin per Ethereum. Or of course, there is a secondary way to measure a price target for a falling wedge pattern, which is simply to drag out a line like this. And in that case, that would set up a price target at just underneath 0.081 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And so basically, if you're measuring out that move from the point of the breakout to that first price target, that's around a 25% move to the upside, or to the top of the wedge, that's around a 30% move to the upside. And in case you're new to this chart, basically, this is ETH versus Bitcoin. So essentially, if we break out to the upside and see a 25 to 30% gain, that essentially means ETH is outperforming Bitcoin by 25 to 30%. And so, of course, this is not financial advice, but the optimal strategy here, if we see a confirmed breakout to the upside and start flipping much more bullish again, would simply be to convert some Bitcoin holdings into Ethereum. So for example, myself, I hold some Bitcoin and some Ethereum. And basically, if this pattern breaks out to the upside, then essentially I would convert some of my Bitcoin into Ethereum, basically trading this move to the upside. And then as the price of ETH heads up towards these higher levels, I would potentially convert that Ethereum back to Bitcoin and therefore making more Bitcoin along the way. But once again, that is not personal financial advice for you. That is just something that I would personally do if we see a confirmed breakout to the upside. But once again, we need to actually first see that confirmed breakout above resistance, because as of right now, we're still simply forming this pattern. And technically speaking, there's still around a 1/3 chance to actually see a break to the downside, because once again, we have not yet confirmed a breakout above resistance. But either way, if you want to know how to make profits in crypto, no matter what direction the price is going, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.